If you want to know how I made this long form YouTube automation video with just 15 minutes of my own time using one software, pay attention, because in this video, I'm going to break down exactly how YouTube automation works, and it's perfect for beginners. So YouTube automation, a perfect example would be this channel, The Invisible Hand. I literally watched their videos yesterday. It is faceless content using script writing, voiceovers, video editing to post on YouTube without the person themselves having any actual facial recognition on the channel. Why this is perfect is because it means anyone can do YouTube. Absolutely anyone. You can be on camera, you don't have to be on camera. And that appeals to a lot of people. Whereas my channel, which is a personal brand, I have to be on camera. Like if I go holiday or something and someone takes over the channel, you'll be watching the videos thinking, who's this random person? It's not me. Do you see the point? Whereas you can go on holiday, you can go and do your own job, etc. and hire people to do the rest of the content, and the channel will work smoothly. So I'm going to break down exactly how YouTube automation works for beginners, and step by step show you how I'm going to create my own video using YouTube automation and one main key software, Fiverr, which is gladly sponsoring this video as well. So let's get into it. So anyone thinking that YouTube automation is too saturated or it's not the best business model in 2025, I'm going to show you one important thing. When I type in YouTube automation, go over to VidIQ, you can see it's actually got a score of 78, which is very high, which means that the actual supply of YouTube automation is not reaching the demand for it. So there's still a lot of people interested in YouTube automation, but the actual content is not reaching that supply. And that's very key here, because what you have to understand is that YouTube is massive. Absolutely massive. When you look at the stats from YouTube, it outpaces every TV channel in terms of viewership on this planet combined. YouTube does, and it's global. So there's plenty of space for YouTube content creators out there. And if you make good content, you will have a platform and you will get a lot of views. It is like digital real estate in this world. So if you can nail YouTube automation, you will make a lot of money in this game. And YouTube automation works no matter where you sit on the scale, right? Like you can be a student, like I was when I first started social media, with no real money to spend, but some time in the bank, and you can do a lot of things manually. On the flip side, you can be someone with a full 9-to-5 job. You've already got a lot of things going on in your life, so you don't have a lot of time to spend on YouTube, and you can outsource a lot of the production to other people. So no matter where you sit on this scale, whether you've got a lot of time, whether you've got a lot of money, etc., you can make sure you can sit there and automate as much as you need to, or do manually as much as you need to. And it depends on your skill set. Like if you're a really good video editor, you can do that yourself. But if you're bad at voiceovers, you can hire someone for voiceovers. So no matter where you sit on the scale, YouTube automation can work for you, because you can decide how much of it you want to outsource. Completely down to you and your own skill set, your own time, and cash availability. So step one when it comes to YouTube automation is picking your niche. Now, this is super important because not all niches are built the same, right? All the niches is a topic. It's something to base your content around. So subscribers know, okay, this is what to expect from this channel. Now, this makes a lot of sense because you could be posting basketball content one day, then post about makeup, then post about golf. The subscribers are sitting there thinking, what have I subscribed up for? You don't know. Like when you enter a coffee shop and they don't sell coffee, you're thinking like, what's going on here? Like it's a coffee shop that is there to sell coffee. That's the same with your channel. So every channel you create should have some kind of theme. It doesn't mean you can't venture out and try different things. Absolutely you can. But the main bulk of the content, the main theme of the channel should be around one particular niche. Now, whatever niche you choose is completely up to you. What I would recommend, and what I've always done, because I've grown a few multiple faces, I've grown multiple faces pages, grown multiple to monetization, right? Is pick something that you like and to be honest, something you have a skill in, something you have some kind of authority in. If you can marry those two concepts, you're on to a winner. Now, if you like what you do, that's important, because if you're liking a niche, you have already an understanding about it. You know what content's going to go viral, especially if you hire people to do some of the work for you, like script writing, video editing, etc., which we will get into. If you know the niche already, you know what to look out for. Like, for example, I could run a faceless makeup YouTube channel. I could. But I don't know the first thing about women's beauty or makeup. I don't know anything, not the foggiest clue. So if they're writing a script for me, I can't even assess it whether it's a good or not script. I can assess whether it's good or not in terms of the actual retention, script writing, etc. if it's got good flow. But in terms of the bulk of the content, it could be absolute waffle. I would not have a clue because I don't know anything about makeup. Whereas if it's about football, great. If it's about basketball, great. I can assess that because I know exactly what's going on with that niche. So I know, cool, this is the right stuff to talk about, this is the wrong stuff to talk about. And we'll get into ideation as well. Now, where skill comes in, if you have skill in a niche, it shows in your content. Like, you have aura in the content if you know what you're talking about. So having the right skill set there will help you be able to produce top quality content. So if you can marry the two, that's perfect. You can also think deeper about it and say stuff like, oh, certain niches get paid more than others. So the invisible hand channel I showed you at the start of this video, right? That's in the politics and economics niche. It is usually watched by an older demographic and therefore has higher CPMs than something like gaming or football or pranks channels. So if you want to think more deeply about it, you can go for higher CPM pages to get more bang for your buck. But overall, when starting out, it's your first ever YouTube automation page. I'd recommend choosing something you either love, you've got skill in, or arguably both would be best. Next, we've got the recipe for YouTube success. So when you're making a long form YouTube video, because YouTube automation primarily is for long form content, it follows these key concepts. Number one, video ideation. What is the idea for the video itself? That's the number one thing you do. Then you've got script writing, you've got voiceovers, you've got video editing, you've got post packaging, aka the thumbnail and title, and then finally you've got the SEO, the description, etc., the keywords, the tags. Now, when it comes to YouTube automation, you can really YouTube automate all of these, but what I'd recommend doing, and what I'm going to do in this video, is YouTube automate these four in the middle. Now, I don't recommend YouTube automating your video idea, because if you can nail the video idea, you will always have success on YouTube. That is the most important part. And you as the boss, the manager of your YouTube automation business, you need to make sure you can nail the idea, because you're the brains of the operation. When you're hiring script writers, voiceovers, video editors, etc., they are not as invested as you are. They are freelancers. They are there to do what they do best, which is providing quality content of what you ask for. But they can only go off what you ask for. So you need to make sure that you give them the correct advice and the correct guidance as to what to do. So if you don't have a clue what the video idea is, if you haven't thought about it yourself or got the skills there, you're not going to be giving good enough guidance to the freelancers to produce top quality content. Whereas if you know what you're after, then you can give better guidance and it will improve over time, just like anything in life. This is why I love YouTube automation as well, because you yourself are improving your skill set, your leadership. I'm reading a book right now called The Lean Startup, which is on my desk, right? And it talks all about having small, tight-knit teams and telling people what to do and giving clear instructions and testing what works, what doesn't work, etc. So that's why I recommend doing video ideation yourself, because if you can nail that side of operations, you'll never have to struggle getting a viral video again, because the video idea is there. Now it's about finding the right people to put that idea into fruition. And equally, I'd say doing SEO yourself as well. Reason being, because as I'll show you later in this video, it's super simple. You can just literally copy off of other videos what's going viral for them, and you do a similar thing. Literally just like that, simple as. Okay, next. So I chose the basketball niche. Why? Because I've got an interest in basketball already. And it happened to coincide when one of the biggest stories in the NBA dropped, which was Luka Doncic joining the Lakers. So absolutely perfect. I like the NBA anyway, and we have a viral video topic right there and then to make a video about. So what do? So I already spoke about how I'm going to use Fiverr to get all of the content done for me. So I hop over to Fiverr and search up a YouTube script writer. Now, when I'm searching this up, what am I looking for? I'm looking for someone that obviously has the skill of script writing, absolutely. But I look for budget and I look for reviews, right? Because if you are starting out, you don't want to be spending hundreds on a script. It's definitely not. But you're going to have to test a few people to see who works best. So this person, £80, a bit too much for my current budget. However, when I look at this person, Abdul Hasib, only £9, and he's got 4.9 star after 119 ratings. That's very good. So what I do is I click on him and I see what his brief is, what he can create content on. And then I'd always recommend contacting these Fiverr freelancers, because when you contact them, you can speak to them, explain what your project is, and you can actually gauge from them whether they understand what they are talking about or whether they won't have an actual idea. Because when you're creating content, you want to make sure that the person you're creating content on actually knows your topic. Because if they don't, they're going to be using AI for a lot of it and they won't give you the best output. So let's talk about how we can actually pitch this. So once you click that you want to start an order with them, I would always recommend messaging them first. You can go through and you can write in these things if you want, but what's important is part 3, the detail on what you want the script to be about. So explain a little bit about what you're doing. I'm looking to run a successful YouTube automation page on YouTube. Just a little bit of a background so they understand exactly what your content is going to be about. It's about the NBA basketball. And you want to outline exactly what the video is going to be about and the direction you want them to take the video in. Because like I said already, these freelancers are absolutely fantastic in what they do if you give them the right guidance. They are paid to do their job. But just like a manager in any industry on the planet, if the employee is not doing their job correctly, you look at the manager and say, has the manager given them the correct guidance? So you need to make sure you're as clear as possible. So I always say, make sure the video is informative as possible regarding the hidden details of the trade. What do you want the video to be about? I would never write to a scriptwriter and say, make a video on Luka Doncic trade to the Lakers. It's not enough direction, because that's just too broad. You want to make sure you make it, you don't have to make it super, super detailed and niche specific, but at least give them some kind of direction as to where the video needs to go in. And I'd always recommend as well when you write to them, always say you can use AI to aid with the research, but do not write the script with AI. because AI scripts never ever perform as well as human scripts, not at this current stage anyway. Maybe in 2025 back end or 2026 we'll see AI improve to a standpoint where it's fantastic for script writing, but right now you can tell when an AI script is written, it hasn't got the same hook and retention as a human writing. So I always say, do not use AI for the script, but you can use it to aid your research. And then after that, you can click start order and they'll get working on the package. Also, you need a YouTube thumbnail. Now, the YouTube thumbnail, in my opinion, is, alongside the title, one of the most important parts when it comes to YouTube automation. If you need to hire one person when it comes to a YouTube automation journey, make it your thumbnail designer. If you have a high CTR thumbnail, which means a high click-through rate thumbnail, you are onto a winner. Now, this person is quite expensive at $20 for a thumbnail. You can get good thumbnails for 15, 10 bucks. But if there's one thing you don't skimp on, it is the thumbnail. Like, this person's got 5-star reviews, 3,900 of them or 3,600 of them. He's a good sort of person to go ahead with. So always with the thumbnail designer, make sure you have a good one. I'd recommend messaging them first to understand the capabilities they've got, if they've got experience in a niche. Now, when it comes to thumbnail designers, I always like to give them some kind of creative control, but I do say that follow what other top videos in a niche are doing. So you can, if you want, actually research YouTube, the top videos in your niche. Like for me, I'm doing it about Luka Doncic and the NBA. So I would research NBA top videos and send him screenshots and say, these are the top videos in the niche, make it similar to this. But at the same time, right, you want your video to also stand out. You want your thumbnail to stand out, because if you have a bad thumbnail, it will really harm your video, really harm it. Like, if you don't even have clicks onto your video, you could have the best video ever, but if people are not clicking on it, that's a massive problem. So your thumbnail is at the shop front. It's the first thing people see when the video comes up on their page. So you have to make sure you make as good a thumbnail as possible. Now, in this actual example, saved to do the thumbnail till last, but in reality, I would make sure you do the thumbnail as fast as possible, because the thumbnail, like the ideation, should come hand in hand, because that's like you going full circle. Then the rest of the video, the script, etc., the voiceover, the video editing, that all comes afterwards. So when you're happy with that, you can click start order and explain to the thumbnail designer what you would want to see. After this, it's just about the waiting game, really. So you want to iterate different sort of ideas and understand that you aren't going to nail it straight away. Now, when it comes to YouTube automation, I see a lot of people say, oh, I could start a YouTube channel and be successful straight away. All these YouTube automation gurus. And they probably could. Why? Because they've got the systems in place. They've tried and tested tens, if not hundreds, of different freelancers to find the best one. So now they've got a system in place where they've got trusted freelancers for voiceovers, for editing, for script writing, etc. So if they want to start a channel tomorrow on makeup, they can do so. But if you're starting out, you have to vet these people. Just like any other job in the world, if you're hiring people, you're not going to get it right straight away. Fiverr is like a hub for all these freelancers, right? And if you can find the right ones, you're onto a winner. So make sure, don't get disheartened if the first freelancer you decide to speak to doesn't give you the output you desire. It happens. Think of that as one less person to test on your route to success. So you have to iterate different freelancers. You won't get it right straight away. That's for an absolute fact. But importantly, right, when you're speaking to these freelancers, emphasize speed and quality. You want videos out quickly, because what's viral today won't necessarily be viral tomorrow, and you want quality as well. Don't conflate the two. Just because something's fast doesn't mean it's bad quality. Make sure it's high quality. And the second point, in my opinion, is just as important. You as the manager need to take accountability. Like I said many times before, these freelancers are there to do their job, which is creating the content, the voiceovers, the script writers, etc., that you ask them to create. So if they're not creating good quality content to a certain degree, you have to take accountability for not giving them the correct guidance. So make that abundantly clear. Now, if you feel like you're genuinely giving good guidance and these people aren't taking instructions properly, move on to another freelancer, no problem whatsoever. But if you're finding 3 or 4 freelancers aren't giving you quality you want, then you have to look at yourself and go, you know what? Maybe I'm not giving the correct guidance. Maybe I'm not explaining myself properly to these freelancers. So make that abundantly clear. That's why I always say to message them first, so you can actually get on the same page as them and see if they're the right person to guide your channel forward and write you the correct scripts or the thumbnails, voiceovers, etc. Okay. So literally 48 hours later, the scriptwriter was done with the content. So I clicked on the document that he provided and I was very happy actually. I read through it and I was excited with what he created. It gave a lot of background information about the trade, etc. What I'd always recommend doing beyond that is checking to make sure they haven't shortchanged you with the word count. So different scriptwriters, they normally charge you depending on how many words you do. So I'd head over on the form and see if they did the correct amount of words. So this person in particular, when I look at the word count, did 487. Basically 500, that's a good amount in my eyes. So I'm pleased with this deal. I can go ahead and accept the offer and move on to the next part. Now the script is done, we can move over onto the voiceovers. So far in our YouTube success recipe, we've done the idea, we've done the script, now we're moving on to the voiceover part. And when it comes to voiceover, I chose this guy, Mike Payne, 8,000 reviews, 5-star ratings. Now, why did I choose him? American male voice talent. Now, I always say, pick the voiceover that matches your niche. So I'm talking about basketball. Basketball is an American sport and it's got primarily a male audience. So I chose an American male voiceover. If I was, like I said before, doing women's beauty, I would not choose Mike Payne to do my voiceover. It makes no sense. I would choose a lady to do my voiceover. So pick the voice that suits your niche, if that makes sense. Now, this guy also, I looked at his reviews, fantastic. Like, he does 24-hour turnarounds, he's professional, he knows exactly what he's doing. I assume he's done similar scripts to this before, so I thought, great, I trust him. And that is the sort of person you can explain to them and say, look, I know exactly what I want with this script. You can explain it to them, you can attach the script as well. Now, for these sort of voiceovers, you won't need as much instruction as you will with the script or the video editor, but definitely make sure you attach a document of the script for them to read out. And if you don't want them to read out certain things like titles, etc., just explain that, because they read what is on the script. So if it's not there, they can't read it, and if it is there, they will read it. So if you want them to omit certain things, just let them know. These freelancers want to do the right job for you. They want to work hand in hand with what you provide them. So just make it as easy as possible for them to do their job. And at the same time, 24 hours later, he did his job and I was absolutely delighted with what he created. Absolutely delighted. It was fantastic. He sent me a voiceover MP3 player for it. I listened to it. His pronunciation was fantastic. Even the NBA players pronounced it to a T. So Mike Payne, heavily, heavily recommend him if you want to get voiceovers done. Affordable price as well. Okay. So, on our success journey, this was after about 48 hours, right? Script was done, voiceover done, idea done. Now we can get into the important part, the video editing. This will take up the bulk of your time and probably the bulk of your budget, because the video editing part is arguably the hardest part to do. It's the longest part, it involves the most finesse, the most skill set. So this is one where you need someone that you can trust to edit properly. And after looking around, I'm choosing this guy, Nihal Studio. He literally says, I will edit faceless videos for YouTube automation. Got 562 reviews. I already spoke to him before about what I would like, so I just have to click request to order and get started from there to explain to him the sort of edits I want. Explain if you're in this niche as well, if you're in a sports niche, don't use unmonetizable clips. Make sure your video remains monetizable, because if you just show full highlights of NBA games, you're going to get taken down for copyright. Just tell him to follow the same format as other popular faceless videos in your niche, in the NBA niche, for example, and you should be completely good to go from there. And speaking of which, in the meantime, the thumbnail design was created as well. I was really happy with it. So you can see when they deliver, they give you an example and you can choose whether to actually accept it or not accept it. Now, this thumbnail itself, I think it's a good thumbnail. In my opinion, what I would do differently personally is I would not have this changes everything in the background. I think it's too much text. I would have actually a split screen with Luka Doncic on the Lakers in a happy face and on the Mavs in a sad face, because you want your thumbnails to actually evoke emotion. But I think it's an okay thumbnail. It's a decent thumbnail. I would actually recommend some revisions personally, but I don't think it's a terrible thumbnail whatsoever. Next, this was at a point where I was in the waiting area. So by this point, the thumbnail was done, the script was done, the voiceover was done. I was waiting for the video editor, and the video editor actually asked for a little bit of extra time, which I granted him. It was only 12 hours extra. But at this point, I was in the waiting area. And this is what I talked about when I say systems before, right? Like, if you have the right systems in place, you can get things done really quickly. Like, I can have a video turned out in 24 hours if I have the people I trust in the right places. But it's going to take time. Now, fortunately, Fiverr makes it simple for you to find freelancers, and of course, everything's trusted because it's like escrow, right? Like, Fiverr only release the funds to the freelancer when you yourself are happy with it. So you're not going to get scammed like if you choose someone from just like a random other site. So you've got that trust there where you pay the money, it gets held in the Fiverr's middleman, the escrow. Then when you accept the order, the funds get released to the seller in the first place. So you can be completely trusted from that aspect, but don't be afraid to actually experiment, try out different freelancers to find one that suits you best. And then finally, the video editing was done as well. And by this point, the whole video was created. I was super, super excited. I'm going to show a snippet of the video right now.
The blockbuster NBA trade has left fans and analysts in shock. Luka Doncic's move to the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers just pulled off one of the biggest trades in NBA history. But hold on, what if I told you there are some shocking details behind this deal that no one is talking about? Stay connected with us as we're breaking down the hidden truths behind Luka's move to the Lakers, what it really means for the team, and why this might not be as perfect as it seems.
So by this point, the video was practically done. We had the idea generated, the script, the voiceover, the editing, and the packaging, now the SEO part. And this is why I said before, I would just recommend searching up your niche on YouTube. You can see exactly what top videos are created. Look at videos that have done more views than the actual subscriber count. So this, for example, 1.1 million views, 681k subscribers. That's very good. You can also look through and find different topics. So Luka Doncic, you can search up, basketball, NBA. This is another great example. 31k views in 23 hours of an 18k subscriber channel. So look at the title they used. Look at the keywords they use in their description, in their hashtags, etc. Super important. I'm using VidIQ for this tool, which I would recommend as well. It's a very, very good tool. I'll also link it down below with Fiverr. You can use this to find the actual key points for your video and see. But other than that, that is the full YouTube automation process. Like, I made it as simple as possible so anyone starting out can get started, even if you are a complete beginner. That is a complete YouTube success recipe. So, I spoke about before how this makes you like the boss, the manager, right? Like if it's a lean startup, you are the head of the pack. You are the one in charge with the 4 or 5 freelancers doing the jobs, each of them skilled in their own particular area. But make no mistake about it, there will be growing pains. It's not going to start successfully straight away. You're going to have to try different freelancers, try different niches, try different styles. But when you find some freelancers and systems that work, your network's built there, you're good to go. Like honestly, any niche you could start will be basically successful because you've got those 3 to 4 people that you trust in your corner. And that's the most important thing. And just like this person, the invisible hand, right? 32 videos already closing on 100k subscribers, multiple videos with 500,000, 188k, 164k. I'd be surprised where if you include sponsorships, he's definitely earning around 10 grand a month minimum after just 32 videos. So fantastic example of what faceless YouTube automation can do for you. And not just that, if you want to get started with branded YouTube yourself, I'd actually recommend checking out the Typeform link in the description down below. You can join my waitlist. I'm going to drop a full explanation on branded YouTube on how I've been able to earn over $100,000 using branded YouTube. And not just that, check out Fiverr. The link is on the screen with me and it's the first link in the description and in the pinned comment. And that's not all. Fiverr hooked you up with a discount code Deniz, which gets you 10% off your purchases. So even more of a reason to get started with your YouTube automation journey on Fiverr using the coupon code Deniz, which will be linked in the description and in the pinned comment. And not just that, make sure you do subscribe down below. And importantly, hit the bell notification button and check out the video right beside me as it details exactly how to go viral on YouTube.